Hello everybody and welcome to another video, the first bonus video for Let's Play Zeus, the enhancement pack. So we're right near the end of the Odyssey, and just before we conclude this, I wanted to take a look at the sequels to the open plays, which we did some bonus videos on fairly recently. Again, these are very easy maps, but what I will do is I will run through them with a lot of super speeding, so we can experience, you know, just really big, awesome towns with very cool concepts in the middle of them. The first one we're going to do here is open play economic, and I've got a bit of a cheat for you guys to show as well. I believe, I'm not 100% sure about this, but sorry, that's my microphone arm squeaking there. I need to put a bit of oil on it. I believe this has 2 colonies. If you remember, Open Play Economic 1 had 2 colonies. I think it's the same here, and then Military has 1 colony. But anyway, we'll do that later. So, what's the story here this time? Well, Athens has its democracy, Sparta has its dual kingship, and Corinth has its tyrants. Yeah, those tyrannical leaders. That's why they let the place burn down, right? You know what? We never actually had Corinth as a parent city, but you know how best to run a city-state. Showcase your skills by building an empire based in Lerna. The last episode in this adventure has no goals, so you can play to your heart's content. Lerna, as you'll notice, just like we saw in the Odyssey, had a couple of we revisit a parent town. Well, Lerna was a colony in one of the previous adventures, so now this has become a parent town for us. If you need your memory jogging, Lerna was during Hercules' labours, where we had the lake in the middle, and I tried to kill the Hydra in the marsh with rabble, but the Hydra ended up winning. That was the original Lerna. Lerna is now a parent for Open Play Economic, and you can build Lerna very big this time. There's also not a lake in the centre, it's turned into a river, so hey. So let's get on in, and again, there's no voice acting. See, I was wondering if the Penelope voice actress might end up doing this, because they clearly got someone back to do a bit for the, the enhancement pack. Why not voice them all? Anyway, so Lerna is the ideal place to begin an empire. Maybe they decided it wasn't appropriate since she was very specifically the character of Penelope, who's not relevant here anymore. The goal as well is very simple, just 16 sheaves of wheat. That's almost nothing, right? Lerna is the ideal place to begin an empire. Your city will share the land with fish and wild boar, and its abundant fields are well suited for the cultivation of wheat. Its rocky hills offer the finest marble and glistening copper ore. Certainly, nowhere in the world matches Lerna. But no land is perfect, however. Well, except Olympia, as we saw, and a new place with open play sandbox too. Lerna is lacking a few key resources. Some of these items can be acquired from others in Greece, though it may take some persistent coddling on your part. It's been proven time and again, however, that even your staunchest rivals will be like putty in your hands if you lavish them with gifts. So again, this one isn't really about fighting, it's about having a lot of money, having a lot of economy, and buttering people up, as they like to say. Of course, the best way to supply Lerna with the missing resources is to found a colony. When you're ready, click the goals button to set aside 16 sheaves of wheat for the colony, and then you'll be able to choose a site for your new city. So that's interesting that their objective here is wheat, actually. See, I think I might have played this one before, but if I did, it was years ago. I really don't have much memory of it. So let's scout out the geography of Lerna. And let me just be clear as we go into this. These final bonus videos, I want these to be really good cities. So, for Open Play Economic, here's my goal. Have the most money, at least, that we've seen in the entire Let's Play. But I would like to get, like 1 million drachma, at least. Which, hopefully, will be fun. It might just end up meaning get to the green and then, you know, some kind of income. And then just super speed forward for ages and ages and ages. But you never know what kind of diplomatic events might end up occurring. I also want this to be a really pretty town. And I have a really cool idea for the center of the city, which would have, like an agora and like a bazaar area in the center, and then a bunch of other houses around. But it looks like the geography isn't really going to fit for that. So I don't know what I'm going to build here, actually, now. Because the geography totally won't work. We have this island up here. So it looks like, essentially, we have a river running through on the south. And it seems very cozy. And I assume there's fish in the river. The river, I assume, also goes out to the sea. So there you go. So there are some fish there. Let's have a look. So we're learning now. We are already trading with Amphipolis, our ally. They'll sell us some fish and fleece. They're sympathetic to us. Delos is another ally. They'll sell us meat and grapes. They'll buy our wheat and our wood. We have an ally in Elis. We have an ally in Ithome. Kyme is back, but they're a rival this time. Ajax, the leader of Kyme. Miletos, led by Mensethius. He produces bronze and olive oil. And then Knossos, another rival. Okay. So here on the original commentary, when I first looked through these trading partners, I was interested in what we could buy from them. But here, look, the magic of this map and why this is one of the strongest maps you will be able to play in the entire game is based on what you can sell. You know, it's open play economic, we're making money. So here, let's look at what they buy. This guy, well, first he's only buying urchins, which we can't actually produce here. We only have fishing spots down in that river we saw. Anyway, they'll buy stuff we can make. Look at how much, 24 apiece. Look at this next trading partner, Delos. They'll buy loads of our wheat, 36 wheat and a bunch of wood. And the best of all, Ellis here. This is the most OP trade situation in the entire game. Every parent, every colony, I alluded to this in a recent episode, they will buy. Now remember, armor and sculpture are already very expensive commodities. They will, at the start here, buy 24 of each. We're going to have essentially infinite money if we build near the trade lanes so that these traders can do every delivery possible. All we have to do is just set up the industry and the money will come flowing in. This really is the ultimate economic sandbox. Again, in the enhancement pack, I feel like they looked at the original sandboxes and said, what could we do better? And on this one, they let you go nuts. Another weird bit of trivia here. I have read online that if you conquer Kaimei, obviously, you're not really meant to do much military here. You can if you like. But if you conquer Kaimei, one of our rivals, and set up a trading pier to them, it will let you build the pier, but the trade ships will never arrive, apparently, which is a bit of a strange one and kind of difficult to see, but there's a bug there. Just like before with the other ones, I'm going to do a lot of super speeding. But right here at the start, I want to point out, first mythology. We have Aphrodite's Haven, and we have the Grove of Dionysus. Dionysus will stop our crime. Aphrodite will stop people moving out. So I believe with them both, what we can do is we can put super high taxes, pay them almost nothing, or pay them literally nothing, and I think they'll stay in the town. I think that they'll continue to live with us. I don't know whether people will continue to come in, but if we build it up, then we set the money rates like that. This is how we can end up making a ton of money. Hades also will give us a lot of money. Athena will give us a lot through the olives. You know, there's not much warmongering stuff going on here. You know, maybe a little bit with Athena, a little bit with Cerberus on Hades. There's also Demeter, but I'm not sure I really want to build Demeter again. We have a little bit of meadow here. So yeah, and then the other thing I want to show off just before we get to speeding up and see what kind of a colony we build here is I want to show you guys a cheat. So let's Control-Alt-C. We've seen all the cosmetic and funsies cheats in the game now. Slowly filtered them out as the Let's Play's gone along. Well, here's a real cheat for you, and I used to use this constantly when I was younger. Constantly. The Delian Treasury. I don't actually know what Delian is. I mean, maybe that's something to edit in here. Okay, so this is kind of amazing and interesting, and I'm definitely more interested in it having just played this game. So there was this thing called the Delian League, right? It was founded in 478 BC, so fairly recent compared to all of the times we're dealing here. So there was this big war, the Persian War, right? Where Persians came, attacked a lot of Greeks in Ionia on the right-hand side coast. So all the Ionians got together and they founded this massive alliance, a military alliance, in which all their city-states banded together and vowed to protect one another. It was led, most notably, by Athens, who had their big navy. And wait, does this all sound familiar to you guys? Yeah, because this is what one of the adventures was about. We were Athens defending from the Persians, or in part at least. Athens Through the Ages covered a lot of stuff, but one of the arcs within Athens Through the Ages was this. And by the way, the league that ended up opposing the Delian League was the Peloponnesian League. So that next adventure, the Peloponnesian War, yeah, that was the other side of it, and it was led by Sparta. Sparta led the Peloponnesian League, Athens led the Delian. It's weird to think if things had gone differently, would Sparta have been the capital of modern-day Greece? Oh, it's all coming together. How satisfying. Well, here you are. So as far as the cheat is concerned, I mean, this is cool, right? When we say the Delian Treasury, I guess they're saying, you know, this big military alliance, they had a lot of money, and we're taking a bit out of their coffers in order to enter the cheat in. Very nice. What this will do, if we enter it, if you look at my money, I have 7,500 drachma. If we hit enter, I now have 8,500 drachma. This gives you 1,000 drachma. Wait, do you remember a few episodes ago I said I don't really know whether Impressions had a good sense of how much money people would spend on things? Like, their cheat for money is 1k drachma. That's almost nothing, really. When you think about exportation, one arrival of a trade ship can get you way more than 1,000 drachma, so it's almost nothing. And then, in fact, so what I used to do is this. I used to just spam it over and over and over again. If you look here, we have 14,500. If I do it once more, we go to 15k, And now, oh, we can actually get the 500 over. We can't go over 15k, no matter how many times I press this. So even when cheating, impressions won't let you go that high with the money. And there you go. I'm so used to it in these games, you enable a cheat or something and it's going to disable achievements or it's going to mess something up somewhere else. You know, Steam won't recognize something. But there are no achievements. There is no tracking of anything in this game. So you can cheat to your heart's content, I suppose. So yeah, there you go. Delian Treasury. I've not done this for years and years and years. There you have it. I will show you another cheat probably on Open Play Military. But this one, since it's money related, felt very fitting for this colony, or rather parent city. So here we go. So the new parent, Lerna. Let's see what we've got. Who knows how this will go? I'll see you guys in a second. Oh boy, well, let's see what we've got here. A lot can happen. So this is an hour-long build. And for the opening housing block, I decided to do with a corner style. We haven't done many corner styles. I quite liked the impressions one from the tutorial, but it didn't go very well because we didn't like Avenue and Boulevard it. So I thought, let's try another. And, you know, you could do like a yin-yang thing as well with two corner pieces next to each other. But once again, we're near the edge of the map, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, I feel really weird about this one. I made a mistake, guys, and that is I looked online at a screenshot of a city someone built here once. And it just looked so good and so amazing. And I'm like, it makes beginning really hard because I'm like, how can I ever do anything that looks as cool as that? First of all, you have the actual game mechanics to contend with. You know, in terms of not having a big employment issue or starving everyone, which you're actually going to see that I do here, unfortunately. I scale a bit too big, a bit too quickly. But previously on the free plays, we were on a very low difficulty. I've bumped the difficulty up a bit this time. And the reason for that is that when we start taxing people and paying them nothing and become a despotic, terrible ruler, a tyrant in charge, I want it actually to matter that we have Aphrodite and Dionysus together. I think on the super easy difficulty, that's not really going to come across. So yeah, anyway, so starting off, you just got this huge map with all this space, all these incredible things you could do. What's going on with it? Well, here I put one hunting lodge down because I've read... Oh, well, there you go. I actually end up with two. But I've read apparently you only need one hunting lodge per spawning spot. I can't remember if I actually said that in the end. But so that explains why I've got that nice little path there. Dotting the columns around, which is sort of a visual that I've really fallen in love with as we've gone along here. Also, that watch post. First, I was putting down as a temporary measure, thinking, well, you know what? We'll have tax there later. But I think I'll have everything. So I've put theatre down as well. And here, finally, right, we have our distribution area. And then a separate area for the college and the drama school. Because I do think they should be separate. I don't like them all being together. Also, with the drama and the college, the drama school and the college a bit further out, what I'm hoping to achieve here is I'm going to have two housing blocks. And they're both being fed by the same drama school college complex. So we're actually playing, you know, the mechanics quite nicely there as well. And then later on, maybe we'll have an elite neighborhood that ends up servicing some other final housing block. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not building the whole town in this 1 hour here. We're getting a hell of a baseline. We're getting a lot of stuff down. But we do have two colonies to support it as well. In fact, at this early stage, here I am with my two trading posts, you'll see, with a little bit of avenue there, which really isn't necessary. At this early stage, there's various resources we just don't have. Like, I don't have my own fleece, I have to import that. I don't have my own olives, I have to import that. I don't have my own grapes, I have to import those. I'm assuming the colonies will deal with all of those. But with our Dionysus Aphrodite combo, I need wood to build the mythology as well. And I don't have any of that just yet, which I'll end up talking about when we cut back into the live commentary in a second there. Here with armories, I gave them walls. I like the armory wall thing, because I feel like military, you know, you'd want some walls with them. And look, you got the colour matching as well. The armory building has a lot of red and white on it, same with the walls. Also, I've given them like a corner piece for their maintenance, so he's doing both the foundries and the armories. What we do have is immediately a lot of bronze, which I noticed is straight next to our first housing block. So I figure a selection of foundries dotted around with some armories near them, and a selection of foundries dotted around with some sculpture studios near them. And they'll grab the bronze and they'll take them straight into those courtyards to cook stuff up, and I like the vibe of that. Obviously, the sculpture studios, I put an equal number of armories and sculpture studios down. The sculpture studios actually take way more bronze than the armories do, so there'll be a bit of mix and matching there, but whatever. The trading posts, you see, I've already moved. I'm actually going to remove end up moving these 3 times. What I want, because this is open play economic, and it's all about earning just crazy amounts of money, and the trade is everything, I feel like the trade should look gorgeous. It should just be this beautiful, amazing shrine in the middle of the town. And here, look, I've got 3 pieces of avenue, a gap between them, a road out, it's all perfectly centered and even, and we can have these columns surrounding it. So I want this to be in a really prominent, nice area of the city. Even Athena, when she comes to visit here, you see, is visiting us. But that entire bay that I've just set up there, I'm actually going to move again. So the original time I've moved it is because I didn't actually know where the traders came in and out. Like, there was a road up in the top north east corner, right near where our hunters' lodges and stuff were, and I thought that that's where they come from. But actually, they seem to be moving diagonally across the whole map, starting at the southeast. So I've moved it like to a more central spot, hopefully. Oh yeah, and then there's this cool thing. I'll slow the footage back down to real time here now. Look at this. Okay, so we had a bit of a collapse where everyone was starving. I had scaled too quick, I thought. But then I realized, no, actually, it's this roadblock in the housing area. Look at that roadblock there. It's like a disaster roadblock. Look at the peddler right now. That's the first and only, hopefully, in the whole Let's Play, renegade walker we've got there, like for a peddler, roaming off into a completely different direction. And it's the way I pulled the road out with the gym. Just a real magical alignment of weirdness with that roadblock that was meant to stop the gym going the wrong way. Anyway, so there you go. So I placed it back down, and now the peddler will actually distribute my food. This actually caused a serious problem for me. For a long time, I was like, why are my houses not evolving? I was shifting a bunch of industry and economy around trying to resolve it, and then I realized actually it was the peddler. The peddler delivering food to the college. That's a fun idea, isn't it? Maybe that those buildings would want that kind of stuff. So anyway, back to moving nice and quick again. You see they evolve. The next step would be to give them fleece, but I don't have much money to import it right now. Here I am checking that they're actually buying the armor that I'm producing and everything's working. So instead of importing the fleece, what I'm actually going to end up deciding to do here is creating another housing block, and I'll keep them like not particularly evolved. Here is where I really wanted to do the yin yang, but you know, there just wasn't any space up there. For this alternate style, I wanted to do a corner version again, a little bit closer to what we saw in the tutorial with the fish pond in the middle. But I've built this in such a way that when they fully evolve to townhouse, we will see that fish pond back there through the gap in the district. If you look back at our playthrough returning to Ithaca right now, and we have that most northerly housing block, that you can't see the fish pond there, which sort of ruins it a bit, you know. The only issue here is the Agora is a little bit far away, but do you see where I put the theatre? I'm basically aiming to have the culture that wants feeders kind of close to where we have the drama school theatre college complex, because I do want them all to be serviced. And the nice advantage here is we're quite far down south of the map now, and we can actually give them their own dedicated fishing, their own dedicated food from these fisheries. Finding the road entrance in was a little bit annoying, but that's not too bad. And that takes me on a nice little adventure now, actually, to dealing with this river. What I still don't know, even after this first hour of building and as I talk to you now, is what the hell I'm going to do with the land above the below the river. But then we're going to be rotating our viewpoint, so it will technically look like it's above the river. I don't know. Like, it looks like maybe there's space to do stuff, but perhaps not. There's obviously two massive centres of activities we still don't have yet. We don't have elite housing. Well, three. We don't have elite housing, we don't have a stadium or a palace. Actually, a lot of my building here in this hour is going to be for the palace/fortress. And I'm just going to say, it's pretty good. I think it's not too bad. Here, I thought I'd preserve some of the tree lines. Building and I got very peaceful and very zen at this point. Finding a pier spot was tricky. Again, I want piers like central. But the river is only at the bottom of the map, so we can only do so well. Believe it or not, this is pretty central. We can go very, very far left with the camera. And I thought, well, if this is as close as I can get them, how do I do it? I end up making this, like, pavement courtyard with a maintenance man right in the middle, surrounded by columns, 2 exits. It's all symmetrical. It's very pretty, isn't it? So far, however, I really haven't had much to do with these pier workers. Like, there's not much important that they're trading just yet. Scouting out for our next little bit of building project. Oh yeah, and another huge idea that I had. I thought, right, if we have the trade central, if we have the piers central, what if we do this thing, like again at the return to Ithaca, where we have like a big storage area. So I'm scouting out a storage area on those mountains as well. Then there's the matter of the actual sanctuaries to put down, but those are okay. Actually, a lot of the gods that we're looking to build turn out to be quite small, as I will discover in live commentary very soon. So here comes the start of the palace. Now, what was my goal with this, as you watch me fiddling around with this for a good long while here? My goal was, I wanted like a super palace in terms of not military stuff. I wanted a nice civilian economy-based palace. So I started just thinking, well, let's have a college and a drama school in there. And ultimately, I'm going to put elites on that meadow to the north. It's not very efficient to use the meadow in that way. But maybe, you know, I've got an idea about how we can supplement our food anyway, even without using that meadow. So I thought, okay, let's do this. And then let's put parks around. It's really weird building those parks there, knowing it was going to be sort of an interior of the fortress. I really feel like I'm making a building here, and suddenly I get this thing where it's like, oh, this is really pretty. There's interior parks, but it's not. Obviously, it's still all outside. But I like this idea of having gardens and things in rooms. I flirted with the idea of having a stadium in there, but then decided against it. Because, I don't know, it can have its own special place later. Surround it all with paths so that eventually there can be towers. And then I realized we have this really nice, like, walkway here. So a bit of a weird IRL thing. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Windsor Castle, but they have this really, really long walkway. Like, it takes forever to walk down. There's a giant statue of a horse on a hill on one side, and just this epic long road getting all the way up to the palace there. And it's a fun walk. I did it, last year, I think? And anyway, so I saw this long walkway here. I was like, oh my god, this is a bit like at Windsor. So I decided to build the long, beautiful entrance, alternating gazebos and flower gardens as I went. With all of that done, I realized, okay, so I've been watching the traders that are cutting through the map. I want them to go through the gatehouses. I want them to, like, use the buildings I have, but they're just skipping around trees and stuff. And so the whole time I was building this, I was thinking it wouldn't be cool if the traders came here. And then it all clicked. I thought, all right, this should definitely be a trading fortress. Instead of having the trade out the front of the fortress, which you saw before, that was what I did on the original open play sandbox at Olympia. Instead, I'm going to have it all encased now. When the traders come here, I want them to go through these beautiful gardens, between these amazing pillars, through the gatehouses, trade. And because this is like a choke point in the map here, what they'll do is they'll enter through the south gatehouse, and then they're going to exit out of the north gatehouse. They will actually walk through both sides of the fortress. The back half of the fortress hasn't been built just yet. But I really like that. This is only space for 2 trading posts right now. I don't know as this adventure goes along how many more we'll get. Like, we're going to set up colonies, at least 2. And I don't know whether they'll be piers or trading posts or what. So I also had to be kind of careful with that design in terms of I want to expand it to have more trading bays there when they ultimately come in. Man, I'm moving my hand so much like I'm a goddamn teacher. You guys can't even see. So about halfway through the construction there, you just saw I got a bit distracted because I realized money has been bad the whole time. Look, 500 drachma. And sales are tricky. So I figured, well, now that we've put the palace down, let's at least start taxing. So there you saw I messed. I kept the watch post in. Oh, and I have one watch post around this palace. You see on the inside, he's paired off with the maintenance worker. But I think he's going to be the only one I have. I don't want this to feel too military. We got a lot of big, exciting ideas for the military campaign coming up anyway in the next episode. So we'll see some stuff with that. And there you go. There's the back gatehouse. And this is not as pretty at all. I haven't beautified any of that. I think I'll do that when I return from a colony in a minute. But here, yeah, just trying to make sure it's all symmetrical and even. And it's not totally, because I'm using cliffs as a part of the wall, obviously, down here on the southwest. But it's right. There you go. Look. So people are now using it. They use the gatehouse. They come over. They sell the armor. They sell the statue. There's a thing that's a bit unfortunate about this sculpture and statue here. No, it's not that it just caught fire, because I messed up that little maintenance guy's roadblocker at the back there. It's, what's unfortunate about this is the sculpture takes so much space that even though, in theory, we could be selling 24 sculpture and 24 armor all at once, in theory, the sculpture takes up too much space. And there's no such thing in this game as creating 2 trading posts to the same guy. Under every other part of the game, that's not really relevant. But here, the capacity is so high and the size of the goods is so high that actually, I think that puts a limit on our trade. Possibly. Anyway, we were in super debt for a second there, like a long time. We were like hardcore minus 3,000 drachma, just desperate to see what would happen. And then finally, when the first sale of sculptures came in, we went from like minus 3,000 to like plus 6,000 straight away. You know, so when I look at the Delian treasury cheat, I know that that's some of the most like hyper trading that you can get in one batch that I'm talking about there. But still, we're dealing with thousands of drachma on the regular. And then sort of a flimsy little Delian treasury cheat. You know, if you have a really bad town that's super in debt, you would have to spam that cheat so much to even try to get into the green, and it probably wouldn't even work because it's only giving you 1,000 a piece. You'd play it like 1 year, like a couple of months forwards, spam the cheat 15 times, and then play it forward, spam the cheat. So anyway, look, on this mountain here, I have central storage. This is central to the palace, it's central to the piers, and kind of near the housing blocks. But look, this is a nice way to use the mountain. Do you know what I also realized we've never done? We've never done centralized granaries. So these will stockpile our extra wheat. You see that extra courtyard I put around the outside there? That was so that I could boulevard it in a bit like this. But honestly, I kind of liked the effect of just the regular path. And they didn't need the beauty, so maybe I should have left it. But look at that. That's pretty good, right? Maybe it could have been a bit more centered or whatever. We can beautify around the edges of it if need be. But now that means any excess that we have, I'm going to start discovering. The final industry that's available here, because wood is not, is masonry. So for all these sanctuaries we want to build, here, what is this? I put 6 masonry shops down, that's it. They're going to get so much marble it'll make your head spin. That huge, beautiful bay that I just put with all of our storage is going to fill up in mere moments. And so now I'm looking for olive oil, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's time to evolve the olive oil. If we're going to be doing that, we need to feed them more. And I'm thinking about Demeter here and thinking, okay, maybe Demeter can go up on that meadow near the wheat farms. I'll talk more about that in a second. But for olive oil, we have to import the olives. So the olives is going to come in, and there you can see I'm considering Hermes, which I'll talk about in a second. The olives are going to come in at the palace, and we need a place that's kind of near the palace, but is also kind of near the housing block. So I've decided to pick this little industrial area here. Oh, well, first of all, we have artisans. Because I've just got a huge amount of unemployment right now. So I employed these artisans. Almost forget to give them a maintenance post. But here you can see I'm putting it back, which is very nice. And then I actually just turn mythology off because we're not going to need them for a while. But, you know, it's just a thing to prepare for. And then olives will come straight down on this little section here. And this building this little olive industry area. I don't know, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Flower gardens, offset it a bit. This is the last thing that I do for the first hour of building, really. I'm going to cut back in a second. Oh, yeah, but then we needed storage. So I wanted to export the olives, you know, on the side closer to the housing block. And I wanted to get, the olive oil on the side closer to the housing block. And get the olives themselves on the other road. There is a bit of a maintenance issue here. As you can see, that bottom road didn't technically have it. Which is a shame, because I got a lot of maintenance posts around. They're just, you know, all inefficient and stuff. I think, for the whole town, this number of olive presses is enough. Once again, this is one of those things where you can buy shit tons of olives. Like, all the numbers on all the trade is just so high that we filled up all those presses immediately. I put the vendors down. They popped into existence almost instantly at Townhouse. These upper guys are not, I think, because they're not getting the olives arriving. But there you go. So with everyone at Townhouse now... and we can't really go much further with the mythology. I think it's time to do our first colony. I'm going to cut back to original WP. And seriously, that was about 1 hour, 1 minute of building. Okay, I think this is a good place to cut back in. Right, with a lot of the town built, and all this storage suddenly, I mean, look how quickly this is filled up. We can export the marble, right? I think it's at a pier that we could export the marble. Was it one of these? No. We could sell the bronze straight up. Do we have any extra bronze sitting around? We actually do. That's kind of funny. But if we sell that... I mean, the idea is to be selling everything possible in the end. I'm sure we could sell the marble. Is it the palace we can sell the marble? They will... No, we can only import the marble. All right, well, that marble... Maybe we'll shut that industry down in a second. But anyway, we've got loads of it, and we want loads of it. Oh, we don't have wood either at the moment, do we, actually? Do we have to buy wood? I don't think we have to buy wood. I think that might be what one of the colonies is for, guys. Yeah, there is no wood available right now. Let me just have a look here. Wood. Available for export, but we have no way of chopping our own wood down. There are no timber mills. So, yeah, right. Completing the sanctuaries is off limit for us. So this has actually worked out really quite well. That said, I want to get a quick little Hermes in. And I think Hermes is going to live in the fortress, because that's just going to look super, super awesome. So let's pull him out here. And he'll speed up the traders and all of that. We may, by the end of this, end up getting rid of Hermes again. Because... And does he... Maybe he doesn't even want any wood. See, yeah, they always want all the commodities. This is what I was talking about before. So we're not actually going to be able to finish him off. But we will have Hermes... We might end up getting rid of him. I'm starting to think the Garden of Demeter would be so cool. Not just for the meadow, but what if we had like a bunch of wheat farms with her, just feeding everyone? Because the fish, you know, there is no Poseidon, and I think we've had our fill of Poseidon now. But the idea of like buffing these wheat farms, so Demeter's like in the middle of them, and then we surround it, a bit like our really cool Hephaestus setup. I'm suddenly thinking Demeter might be fun. That's 2 gods. Dionysus and Athena are absolutely, we have to have them. Now, Dionysus is a weird pick on this one because we have no vineyard. We have no wine or anything like that. He is literally just there to reduce the crime when we stop paying these people in what is going to become a complete dystopia. So Dionysus could actually be anywhere. He could also be in the fortress then. Oh, he could be opposite in the fortress. So let me just be 100% sure here. He's definitely not going to sanctify anything. Well, he'll provide a little bit of wine out the front for us. Do we want industry in there? Yeah, I could put the growers' lodges out the front here. That's kind of an awesome spot for Dionysus, actually, in the end then. Okay, so we'll have Dionysus and Hermes within this amazing fortress. Then, Aphrodite. She's the big one. And Aphrodite's really small as well. Oh my god, Aphrodite really is the last magic god here. So we can slice her into these housing districts, which I really didn't plan out very well. Or we could do a new, like a third housing district. Where would it go, though? Where would it go? I was saving that space for elites because I'm thinking of the stadium up in that area. How have I used all the space already? What's going on here? Well, we'll find a place for Aphrodite. And then our final gods... Well, no, Demeter and Aphrodite, and that's it. That's pretty good. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. Because we've seen a shit ton of Athena. I'm definitely not doing that. We've seen quite a lot of Hades as well. Oh, I never mentioned, but there's some amazing dialogue from Hades where he says, "Why won't you worship me? Is it because of my legs?" And it's fantastic. Also, this was the only hunting that I found in the whole colony in the end. Well, whatever, there you go. In the interest of not having this video be 10 hours long, I mean, I'm sure it's a lot longer to make than it is to watch with the speeding up. But here we go. Let's set the wheat aside. Well, okay, hold on. I'm going to save Lerna returns and begins to thrive. Okay, except that's too long. Right, set aside our wheat, and let's see what our first colony is. We'll probably get a choice, and we can pick. I'm going to pick the one that gives us wood, because we're going to want that. Lerna is thriving, but it is time for the city to become more self-sufficient. With the founding of a colony, Lerna will become an empire. Oh, I didn't check my money. 10,000 drachma, that's about what we started with. So, alright, so we get Marathon and Tenarum. Oh, love it. So we've seen these guys on the world map a bunch as we've been playing along. Marathon, Emerald Green Forests. I'm pretty sure this will be the one. Decorate the island chain of Marathon. The wood produced here will turn into riches for Lerna. Excellent. We'll read the description of Tenarum later. I'm curious about it, but that makes me think you guys might be as well. It'll be a little tease for in a minute. So, yeah, awesome. And it's an island chain. Sturdy timber will help to strengthen your treasury, and there may be other sources of wealth on the islands just waiting to be discovered. When you're ready to return to Lerna, click the goals button. So just a bit of wood for the parent city here. So to the city, let's have a look. Oh, I do like my island chains. Right, what have we got in terms of size? It's pretty big as well. It's not actually that small. So we have the entry island, a couple of small ones here. The ones... As far as gameplay is concerned, the ones not surrounded by beaches are the best. Are they urchins on this map? That looks like an urchin spot there. Is it urchin or is it just frozen fish? Okay, we have urchins. We have a cool arrow-shaped island here. Some very small ones, I doubt. Oh, an entirely beach island. See, I want to build paths and stuff. No one will ever be able to use this because there's no way to water crossing onto it. We can just draw a pretty pattern and then that's about it. You know, that actually looks kind of like an alien glyph or something. We can scribble on it. Okay, it looks like we'll be quite constrained this time. Maybe 2 housing blocks, tops, hidden on the islands, and we just chop the wood down and then we can get back, to be honest. But this is a fun little place. What else have we got here? So we can import any kind of stuff we like for tier 2 materials. Oh, a mint. There's a mint here. Hold on. So can we mine silver out of this? Or is this a weird bug? Oh, no, there you go. Look, so there's silver ore-bearing rock down in the corner. Well, we got to mine a little bit of that as well. So here we go. Marathon. Finally, we have seen it. We've talked a bit about Marathon earlier in the series. Nice, recognizable Greek place. Let's see what we've got. Let's build. So this one is a 35-minute session. Basically, my goal here is to get them up to townhouse. You know, we could do elites and all kinds of crazy stuff, but I ran out of space really fast. So the first call of order was to figure out the bridges, because I immediately have a plan. Maybe you can guess. You can probably predict the really fun and awesome idea that I've got here. But by mapping the bridges out, what I was hoping was we could create a giant circuit where eventually all the islands connect in a loop, but that sandbar there in the middle that I've drawn the random, like the alien symbol on or whatever, that you can't, that like blocks off the map from being totally connected. So basically the bottom left islands are their own little area, and then this place where I'm building the palace is its own little area as well. I immediately set up some mints, set up a palace. I don't really have the space to enclose it in walls, but that's fine. It's been a while since we've had a naked palace, right? And then I clear all of the trees off of both of these islands, and I draw one long line across this bridge. I get a bit ahead of myself there. I'm going to draw a line around this island as well. And look, we have more of the MS Paint marsh in the middle here as well to draw on and build on. And check it out. I'm going to put an infirmary up, a water fountain. We're going to do a force walker setup. We're going to do the thing I wanted to do, which was to have like a water carrier that goes out across one bridge and then back across another bridge. And even better than that, I'm going to service 2 islands. So obviously, again, you don't want the water and the infirmary to have to go too far, that people become unhealthy and dehydrated on their way back. But essentially, we're servicing 3 blocks here. This is as good as I can do. I want it to go across all the islands, but again, there's no connection down below. But that's a nice effect, isn't it? Now, I've gone the outer perimeter of islands first. The inner I can fit in later, but I needed to make sure I had space on both sides of the road, so that's why I've set it up this way. And then all the bonus stuff we can figure out, you know, as placing on the inside. I decided to do it with the granary and the storehouse on the inside, WP Special, as I've been calling it, and because there's just so much space on the inside there. We're obviously going to have appeal issues again, because when there's water there, we can't put appeal around it. Also, I haven't boulevard or avenued any of that path, so yeah, don't expect to see everyone fully evolved to townhouse. But I have a really fun idea for the culture as well. I'm thinking, what if we put a stadium up near the infirmary and the water fountain, and then gyms on the inside? If we do that right, we'll have a scenario like at Sparta where they don't actually need any other culture, because people will do the whole Force Walker loop. By people, I mean competitors leaving the gyms as they travel out to the stadium. And you'll see I do manage to nail that. So it's quite a cool design, but, you know, just not the most appealing design because I didn't map out every little pixel. I mean, I also noticed that there's horse ranches available here, and you could, in theory, import everything you needed for that. But we have another colony here, actually, and I'm just sort of breezing through it. I only came in with 10k drachma, but this is another colony with no meadow, which means you're very limited on what you can do. We can at least get our own food. Now, that's big. All these urchin gatherers here. I think in the end there's going to be urchin gatherers pretty much on every single little bit of coastline, as much as I can get it. It's a bit tricky, again, balancing that with the piers and whatnot. But we have to import fleece. We have to import olives to turn into our own olive oil. What I actually do is I set up the olive oil industry a long time before I evolve everyone to townhouse, just to make sure that we're building a stockpile and our exportation and stuff is good. Food is actually a bit of a problem. I've got so many houses here that once they all evolve, I don't know if I'll actually have the food to support them. This second Agora I'm putting houses around here right now, by the way, is kind of a bit badly positioned. Like, I wish I had more space. He's not actually going to hit many houses when he roams because he's so close to one of the water crossings. You know, it would have been cool to have had houses on the mainland, right near where all those piers and the trading posts and things are. But it's so tight for space. Maybe I could have killed all the trees up there. But then at the end of the day, we are here to chop those trees down. And I've cut a lot down on the inner islands immediately. That makes me wonder, could you lock yourself out of a playthrough here by manually deleting all the trees at Marathon? And then, you know, your requirement is to get a storage bay full of them, but you've deleted them all. I assume that would lock you out, and that's why the game has like a quick replay episode button that you can always hit from the menu at the top, just for such scenarios. Oh yeah, and I had that fish pond there. Just out in front of the palace, because I couldn't really put walls there, and I thought, what can I do that's a little bit of interest? And of course, a fish pond is the #1 thing. So yeah, we have a fire there. No Hephaestus to save us on this one. So I go with a college, just in case we'll need the podiums later. I don't think I end up putting the podiums down. That's actually a totally useless college. And a spare maintenance post so that you can put out those fires. But to be honest, guys, I do keep getting a random burning. I get a random burning sensation, Doctor. Somewhere on the bottom left housing block, you know, there's a fire that erupts there. And even by the time I'm going to leave this colony in a second, I don't actually diagnose exactly what's causing that. Finally, here's our trading post to Lerna, which I'm putting in the corner. That's to sell the olive oil to get our money okay and make sure it's all right so that we don't go completely in the red here, because the mints are obviously not going to be enough to sustain the whole town. Weirdly enough, Lerna does not actually buy our wood here, so it feels a bit off. And in fact, there's a major bug in this mission. I already referred to the bug where if you conquer Kaimei in this campaign, their trading posts, their sailing ships don't actually work. But check this out here. This is Marathon requisitioning wood. Hey, Potato First, I Fuedas, your deputy in Marathon, need your help. We need wood here in Marathon. Well, hold on. We are Marathon. What? So here is our deputy. So what? we've already got a deputy before we've even left, and he's just come up to us and said, hey, I know you're still here, but we need the wood. So there becomes the question of, can we just ignore this? And I almost do. I do eventually just give him his thing. I guess there's no issue with ignoring it, because that city doesn't exist. We are that city. There's no, like, extra layer of diplomacy. It doesn't matter if Marathon gets annoyed with Marathon, right? So, yeah, anyway, just a funny bug. And here I decided to watch. This is the full Force Walker setup going on. That's our infirmary guy. And the water carriers are doing the same. And we have plenty of time, you see, with the hydration as they move around. I just really, really love that setup. Interrupted moments later, though, by a tidal wave, which only hits the sandbank. So, again, remember, we're in open play. If they ever do a hazard or something, it's just for a bit of flavor. It's just for a bit of effect. It's not really going to affect you much. Which is funny. You know, I would expect maybe in the sequels to the open plays, they'd be a bit rougher with people about it. I mean, who would end up in this open play? Like, you notice with the quest dialogue as well, they're also still talking like it's your tutorial. But how many players are actually going to be on this map really early on before doing anything else in the game? You know, you have to go into the whole separate custom adventures section to even find the thing. Presumably new players are going to be up in the regular adventures area first. But I don't know, what do I know? Maybe not. And in fact, even I may have been one of those players that came and did these before actually doing the regular stuff, you know, about the Peloponnesian War and so on. So yeah, the second island I quite liked in the end. There's like a massive U shape in the road. Goes through the beach a little bit, but then we have like one maintenance guy hitting one shore and a bit of the south, and then another maintenance guy hitting the other shore and a bit of the south. That's probably the best island to do elite houses if you're going to go all the way up to that on this, but I think that would require very, very careful placement of things. You know, you need the stadium out there as well. If you want to evolve them fully, you could. I loved the idea of having just one horse ranch on a single island, but I never ended up making it in the end. We have like one island left of space down on the south, and I don't remember what I do with it. I do put something there in the end. I guess we'll just watch this along and see it play out. Because I actually did this last night. I actually, after we left Lerna, I went off, I got some hot chocolate, I came back, I recorded this, then I went to bed, and now here I am. So, you know, time is passing as this episode goes along. There is a lot we're jam-packing into these. Yeah, so then I realized, okay, if we're going to do evolution, we need a bunch more food. So just urchins gatherers absolutely anywhere I can. That involves putting some right next to the houses as well. Oh, and there's the last bit of path to fully connect everything. So some of these houses are going to be really angry. They're going to be like at shack level forever. Or maybe hovel. There you go. So I put those benches down. We get them up to 1 tier of evolution. That is all you will see. Here, while I beautify this island, those buildings at the top, and look, we just plaster park everywhere, they don't actually need beauty. They need culture. And that's because they haven't had a gym yet doing the whole walk. So check this out. I realize I can shift the pier, put a maintenance post and a gym down there. It's perfect on those houses on the other side. By the way, check that out. One of those houses is getting commodities right across the water crossing. Anyway, so that gym now, he's essentially doing the Force Walker walk when he decides to go to the stadium. He's doing the whole loop, and if you check it out, everybody evolved. With the culture in, it's just a matter of giving them their olive oil, and I can see from the bays within the housing blocks that the olive oil is ready to go, but I'm really concerned about unemployment. So, as one final little touch here at Marathon, and this is a nice town, isn't it? I thought let's dot some towers around, because that will actually soak the unemployment when we start to man them, but it doesn't really get very much. Anyway, there you go, that's my building adventure, about 35 minutes, not too bad. Let's cut back into the live commentary. Alright, so we are looking at the end of the colony now. The reason for this, as I'm sure I've explained, is once all these guys evolve... Oh my god, the fire. These random fires. Every time I click, I can't see where it is. It's somewhere in there that we're getting these little fires. Obviously can't build Hephaestus to deal with that. But once all these people move into these townhouses... and this block's actually evolved very well over here. We're going to have so much unemployment... It's unreal. We're gonna have to start paying them basically nothing. I mean, we could put a lot more towers down, you know, that's what I've been trying to do here. But, you know, just to soak as much as possible. I do enjoy that every single piece of road you're looking at here does ultimately get to the palace. But yeah, this is a fun little colony. I'd love to be able to get one there. A really fun little colony, and in fact, let's use every island here. This final island isn't being utilized for anything, so let's give him a tower there as well. Yeah, really nice. We will dip out so that our deputy, our real deputy, and look at this. I like this effect with some not very evolved and some very evolved. Look at the gym just completely buried in there. We'll have our deputy deal with the tricky business of telling people that the wages are about to plummet because we've just encouraged them all to evolve, because we've given them oil, and now it's a much more lucrative looking place to live in. Oh, the way I said oil there, it's like I'm referring to crude oil or something, isn't it? There you have it. I've kind of been a bit slapdash with the parks here, just sort of dragging them all in. But yeah, a nice little place. I like Marathon. I really do. I didn't realize if I assume it's true in real life as well, that if there is, you know, because you never know in this game whether it's even a real town or a mythological town. But whatever, Marathon, an island chain, pretty nice. So let's set our wood aside for the parent city. Actually, let me save this here. I've added to our collection. Marathon thrives mostly. Just don't play it not too many months forwards in the end here. We're gonna have about 5,000 population, I'd guess. Yeah, just slightly shy of 5,000. Yeah, so there we go. Set aside 16 planks of wood. And we're off now, back to Lerna. At the end of the month, at any rate. There we have it. The bustling colony at Marathon will not only provide Lerna with valuable wood, it will also purchase many of the goods that Lerna produces. With Marathon in the Empire, Lerna's coffers will grow by leaps and bounds. Proceed. So, Lerna is truly an empire now. Well, yeah, because we've got more than one place. The colony you establish will provide much-needed resources and an additional source of revenue. Life in Lerna is sure to become easier thanks to the colony. Still, it would be useful if Lerna had its own source of the few remaining valuable resources that it lacks. Founding a second colony is in order. When you are ready to click the gold button, go on. So, again, it's just 16 sheaves of wheat, which is really easy, actually, to set up a colony, but I'm now realizing means that you get less when you're there. I'd kind of prefer if this said 16 wheat, 16 fleece, 16 oil, you know, just so that we could immediately have a huge employment bump at the start, build everything, and then just go, you know. There's kind of this gear shifting thing in this game where you've got to slowly click into it. And I like the idea of building a perfect city that can just take a couple of resources at the very beginning to immediately hit 6th, you know. Anyway, so there we go. Colony Monument is now available. And oh boy, we have our wood, so we can figure out... Well, we don't have to figure anything out. We could just play this forwards so that these guys build. But I do want to, before we move on, I want to get Aphrodite down and I want to get Demeter down. And what that's going to require is... I mean, Demeter should be pretty easy. I'm just going to break some of these and we'll put her in the middle. And we'll figure that'll be fine. Aphrodite, I want a full-on housing block. Actually, what we might do, guys, is this might be the Aphrodite housing block up here. And Demeter's wheat farms? They might go somewhere else. Oh, God, I don't know where else, though. Imagine if we could get her up on the other side of the shore as well. There's really not enough space to build up there. It is, in one way, it's kind of this cool idea of a river separating the two land masses, but in the other, you just don't get enough space. We might... or we could tack Aphrodite... No, I don't want to tack Aphrodite on. The dream has always been to have Aphrodite surrounded by houses. So I think maybe Demeter here, actually. Because there is a lot of space. When we clear some of this wood, which we can't chop down anyway... Yeah, I think this will be it right here. All right, and we're going to be... Because this stuff can move in. This distribution bay can move in. This can move over to the side. And then Demeter herself, she's pretty big, right? But, oh God, she's huge. Oh my Lord, she's massive. Ah! All right, maybe we get rid of the Artisan Guild station there. And we have Demeter surrounded by wheat farms here. And then slightly to the north, we have Aphrodite surrounded by houses. I'm going to have to figure that out. So I'm going to cut while I plan it and build it. See you guys in a second. Believe it or not, this is 15 minutes of building. Demeter's just so big. She's massive. She's smothering me. So anyway, first we had this fire issue. I didn't realize. Did you catch this a minute ago? As amazing as this effect was with all the columns around the outside and stuff, actually the ones on the outer edge don't have paths, so they weren't even employed, which might explain why some were empty and not immediately filled by marble and sculpture. Originally, when I was placing it down, I did actually want to surround the whole thing with path, but I guess I got distracted with how amazing putting that plus shape of boulevard was down. It was just so satisfying. Anyway, so yeah, I had to fix that, get those working. Then what I've done is I've deleted the artisan guilds, moved them in next to the olive presses. We'll have winery industry on the bottom as well, because Dionysus will be built soon, so we will have a little bit. And it's kind of close to the palace. It's not super close, but I can do my cool storage bay trick and see whether it's worth absolutely anything. Since they have 1,000,000 miles to walk anyway to Dionysus, I don't think it'll be worth that much. But then again, Dionysus doesn't actually offer you that much grapevine built into the temple, so there's a chance that they do get the max value during the growing season anyway. At the very least, the storage trick will mean that we, they spend the most time possible out on the roads moving around. So anyway, Demeter's massive. So I end up moving all these foundries And what I'm thinking right now is I'm making a mistake. I'm forgetting that the meadow doesn't come out that fast, so I'm thinking we'll do a double layer of wheat farms for just insane amounts of food. Wheat farms pressed right up against the temple, then a path, and then wheat farms on the outer perimeter as well. So I'm trying to create as much space as possible, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have the high appeal area before we place it down, which is actually incredibly hard. Because you've got to, like, guess. I mean, unless you use, like, a lot of, like, weird little bits of placeholder or something. So anyway, according to everything we've tried to figure out here, that bottom bit that I have a bit of avenue on, that's where she should spawn. And what I want is her to sometimes spawn and go left, sometimes spawn and go right, or we can force her to do a complete circle. And so here I'm measuring up that wheat farms work against that armory. I'll talk about that again in a second when we cut back into the live commentary. So, you know, hopefully without compromising on too much here, we can get just a crazy amount of wheat farms here in an area of the map that didn't even originally have meadow, and that will feed as many people as we could possibly want. I'm hoping that this Aphrodite housing block we do soon is just so big and amazing and cool, and because it has all the extra occupants, it puts a lot of stress on food, which Demeter will help patch up. So anyway, there you go. So that's with it placed. Well, we need a little bit of wood. So finally, here's our trading post to Marathon. And I decided the most fitting way to do this would be to just break a bit of path and lay them next to each other. And then the next trading post we get from the next colony, assuming it might be a pier, I don't know. Actually, it probably is a pier, to be honest. But anyway, if we do have space, we'll put another one within the palace there. I realised since all the storage bays are filling up instantly with marble and sculpture, I should probably designate one just for wood, just in case, which is what I've gone with there. These wheat farms are breaking, but it's okay. We're going to remove them all. That's going to be our housing block, like I say. There's Hermes, and Hermes has wormed his way in again. Here he is, but he is useful. I can see that speed up is happening again, by the way, with the weird, almost buggy-looking speed up of citizen movement. So I think that is Hermes. I think it just, like, ticks on and off or something. Or maybe it ticks on and then there's something you do in the game engine that accidentally turns it off and then you see it click it back in again later. Maybe it's if he doesn't get any sacrifices, if he even uses those, I can't quite remember. Or it could be he loses the employment for a second if you're having labour shortages, which is what we were having at Ithaca, the sequel to Ithaca. Oh, also, if you caught it, since I'm paused anyway, Dionysus is also built now. They're both there at the extravagant palace complex. But, yeah, and I might remove him. We might have another sanctuary. We'll see how we feel when we get back from the next colony in a second. There we go. So, Avenue, Storage Bay. They will teleport their olives straight into the bay and go out and pick up more now. There is no second phase of delivering them. And then the wineries with their own storage bay for some grapes. The grapes are ultimately going to be getting exported on the wrong side of the palace for where I ultimately want the elites. But, you know, that shouldn't be a big deal. And one last little fire because the maintenance here is a shit show. And well, there you have it. That's Demeter complete, and we can mess around with our wheat farms, which I did entirely with live commentary. So I'll pass you back over. All right, well, here we are. So the Garden of Demeter complete. Now, for a moment there, well, I've probably explained what I was already thinking about with wheat farms and everything. The placement of this was quite tricky. However, I have already cottoned on to the fact that obviously Meadow doesn't extend out that far. So we'll have to see how well we go here. Employees needed. That's not devolution, is it? Oh my god, is it just that we've got the really good level since I put the wage rate down? I guess so. I am a little bit scared of devolution. Everything should be rock solid, except we are kind of near our food cap right now. You see, actually, we're just under what we need, but we're about to massively boost that. The other thing is, I just started selling the olive oil, and I'm concerned that... But, I mean, I noticed these bays were completely full, and look at all the olive presses we have here. Our industrial area is just really rocking now. So yeah, right. What I want to use is the maximum amount of meadow possible here, since this could be the very last time we ever see Demeter. So I want to really get value out of it. Now, I built this road originally with the idea that she'd only escape out the back. But what I also don't like here is this stuff out the front. So I'm going to shave, and I built this hoping this would be the prettiest area. Hopefully she set that already. So we do need a path onto it somewhere. So I guess I'll just do this and then put a bit of boulevard. I mean, we could even just do avenue, but let's do it. Let's just do that, okay, for now. It doesn't necessarily need maintenance or anything. Let's get rid of the perimeter road. I don't know why I built that early. Okay, no, we won't delete her. So I'm thinking also what we can check first is if we put a wheat farm. So having them offset on the outer edge like this kind of is useful because you could put wine. You could put grapevine on the inside that then they walk into. A bit like, you know how we have parklands to allow people to get into our totally boxed off areas of Greece. You could do that and they could walk through. So actually offsetting the wheat like this is the better way of doing Demeter, but we have none of that for ourselves. We can't plant wine, grapes, and we can't plant trees, which is a shame. We're not going to be able to see that effect. But if you imagine, we could have an inner ring and an outer ring. So for our purposes right here, there's actually no point. Except maybe at the corners. So what I'm thinking is if we do one there, can we squeeze one out there? No. But if this was Avenue, not Boulevard, we could. So we can Avenue it on the other side. Oh, but it might already be uneven on the other side. Well, let's just do a tiny bit of Avenue. Just so that there's some minor appeal there. Okay. And then the next wheat farm will come here, and we might be able to get one out on the corner. You never know. 1, 2. Oh, that's her. She's literally spawning. She's blocking me from placing any wheat farms. She still thinks the old road is there, which is funny. No, it doesn't actually matter in the end, guys. It doesn't matter. So we can boulevard that whole thing. Because the maths hasn't really worked out for being able to do anything. But I'm glad that we checked. You know, it's nice to be able to actually verify we're getting the maximum amount that we can. So yeah, so then there should be 2 wheat farms on the inside here, and now really I got no choice but to just go up all the way along. And on the back, well, let's do this flank here as well now. So 1, 2, 3. She's kind of annoying here that I have to play. I want to be in pause because I don't want them to stop breaking and burning and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I guess it won't happen too fast. There you go, Demeter, keep going. So, we shifted this. This is essentially just misaligned by 1. So it doesn't actually matter what I do here. It would have to be misaligned by 2 or even 3 to squeeze out the other wheat farm. So there you go. So, this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. I wanted a full ring that she could patrol the whole way around. Oh, this is now really annoying. Ugh, Christ. Well, it is what it is. Or is it? Maybe we have her spawning here. And we have her do the full loop before we have like a U shape because it's broken. Alright, let's do it that way. So this road is now no longer a thing. The front is going to get totally ripped out and aligned evenly, which will look nicer. So hey, we're winning something out of this. So you. See, I didn't want to go one closer to the armories here because I didn't want to have to break the armory in the event that we were going to have road and then wheat farms on the other side. You see that's perfectly lined up. I should have shifted it over by 1 in hindsight. Okay, then this path comes all the way down here, and we don't actually give her an exit. We can get under that, right? I'm pretty sure we can. We need a good view. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we connected as close as we can. We just can't get right into that corner. And then over here, that is correct, right? Cool. When I rotate my view, it's really hard to see what I'm looking at. Okay, we're over here. So we delete this, this and this. Now, this road here, I don't want to give her a chance to turn off. So this road will no longer exist. They're going to patrol up the cliffs, up this handy little exit that I noticed a second ago. And they'll connect onto there, and I'll give them a roadblock just in case. There shouldn't be any walkers there. That should all... Oh, no, there's maintenance, yeah, so. And then this area, this road goes out, this road goes out, this road goes out. It all goes away. Sorry, guys. These poor sculpture workers, they've got such a long walk to get to the palace to trade their stuff now. So with this road, right, I want to force Demeter to spawn on one of these corners. We might not be able to do it anymore. She might have picked her favourite spot and it's down there. Which is still okay, because she'll, like, essentially tick-tock, I guess. But in the best interest of this, I suppose it doesn't actually matter which side she appears on. Well, it does in terms of I'm going to try and get, I'm going to try and make her roam away again. So, like, I think actually, guys, the end of the path is here. I think we pull this up. She will be close enough to sanctify that last wheat farm there by doing this. She will be close enough. So she leaves and she goes to, like, you know, the old farm or the elites or whatever's going to be over here. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Which means we're desperate for her to spawn on this side. Which means avenue along here. And a monument on the cliff. And 2 benches. And do you know what? Honestly, if this doesn't work, I'm going to remove the... I'm going to remove the temple and just replace it. Just, well, if we're going to go that far, we should shift it over by 1 as well. Alright, let's see where she spawned. Let's see. Should be paid of 100 drachma. Thank you. So, oh, maintenance. Careful now. So, we shouldn't need too much here, but that should be okay. And then maintenance on the other side as well. So they don't all burn down. There you go. Okay, so she spawned... Oh, no, that was Aphrodite. Well, Aphrodite's picking over there. The maintenance guys aren't getting all the way around. We need another one here. I'm surprised. That doesn't actually look so big, but... Oh, no, he is getting all the way around. It's just when he picks the wrong route first. Here come the Olympics. Oh, my God, there's all the wheat going. Yeah, she hasn't appeared, though. Sanctify my stuff, please. Hello? We should see our food production's gone up massively, up to 8,000 people in now.
If you choose me, coarser gods won't
Aphrodite's visited again. Is she spawning, but just somewhere completely weird and wild? Oh, we didn't leave our road in. The wheat farms, we can still have the same number. It's just that they're offset slightly around this weird little loop, which is unsightly, but what are you going to do? Now people will work there. There you go, she's here. And she spawned out the front. That is the thing, she spawned out the front. Well, let's have her TikToking, I guess, then. Oh, really? But I just saw a maintenance guy go past that, and we just verified that it's good enough. Look at it collapsing there, by the way, not burning down. You'd think wheat would. All right, so there you go. So she's sanctifying stuff, and yeah, she walks up this way and then that way. Yeah, look, she's doing it. She's got a chance to sanctify absolutely all of them. Yeah, she does. She gets right to the end. Actually, this is perfect. She does the full patrol. It looks like every time she wants to go left and then go right. She's on a really nice setup, so she hits every wheat farm. So we don't have to move it. Look, she even gets out sometimes. Okay, brilliant. Which now means this farm... So our food has just gone up to some ridiculous level. Which means that this can now be removed in the space for the elite neighborhoods, which we will be dealing with our... No, that's going to be commoners and Aphrodite. And then, because we have Dionysus and everything, then we can become a despot. 2 other notes. One, doesn't this just look really goddamn cool? Like, it's only now when I'm looking at the footage back, I think the pattern actually looks really nice. Second, we can export wheat as well, so that's another thing that we'll be able to sell. And I'm so confident we have obscene amounts of it now that we can export it, feed it to horses and our people, and be fine. Just from this setup. Nice. I suppose, by the way, an even more insane variant of this is you're tempted to put Demeter where there is no meadow, so you can get advantage of the fact she's spawning meadow. But if you do put Demeter on an already established meadow that extends way off around her flanks, you could do the double row of wheat farm that I was initially thinking about, which would, the sanctification rate on that would be nuts. So there is actually a reason to put her on a meadow. Or at least aligned with one of them, so one flank can have double wheat farms. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so there you go, guys. That's the next phase. So we didn't devolve, did we? No. Okay, we're good. We're definitely good. Look at how much stuff we can get out of just these 2 housing blocks. So lovely. So, the next colony and the final colony. Let's have a look at it. Let's set aside our goods and leave Lerna for a moment here. Probably should have saved. Returning to Lerna. Leaving these save file names, my god. Alright, here we go. We have decided that we're ready to expand our empire. Once the second colony is established, Lerna will be unstoppable. Now, this one's really interesting. I kind of teased it a second ago. Tenarum. Does that ring a bell for any of you guys? Tenarum? It should ring a bell. But why does it ring a bell? Was it a parent? Well, certainly not. We know our parents very well, don't we? Was it a colony? Now, I suppose there's a slightly higher chance that it was a colony at some point and it's another repeat location. It's not. It's not a colony, it's not a parent, but it should be familiar. In the second adventure, Perseus and Medusa, I opened the world map and I showed you guys the mythological sites that you send your heroes to go do their conquest. We had a mission for a hero, I'm guessing it was Perseus, where they had to go to the underworld. It might have been Hercules, actually. We sent someone to the underworld, and I pointed out that this cool mythological-looking town was actually technically, so you know, in some sense mythologically, where the gates to the underworld were said to be, and that's the same place. This is it. That's Tenarum, except now it's not a mythological looking site with a mythological looking icon. It's just a straight up place we can go and build a colony at. So right near the start of the LP, we saw Tenarum and how cool it would be to see it or whatever. Well, here we are. This is it. This is Tenarum itself. And keep this story of the underworld in mind when you look at its geography in a second. The abundance of meadow here makes the raising of sheep and the planting of olive trees easy. Aha! So here's our fleece and olive oil, so we no longer have to import it. And with this, we will be limitless. We'll have no cap on how far we can push things. So let's get on in. Tenarum is a lovely place. The centerpiece of the region is Tenarum Mountain, which is adorned with a fertile meadow on its peak. Sheep and olive trees couldn't ask for a better home. When you're ready to return to Lerna, click the gold button. So here we want a bit of fleece, a bit of olive oil. Let's head on in. Now, they just used the word mountain. So, remember that word mountain. Look at all this rubble here. Actually, I wonder if this is simulating something as well. I'll come back to this. Why is all this rubble like this? What do you guys think? It looks good, doesn't it? Again, another weird thing of enhancement pack map making. So here's the mountain. Well, it's quite small, isn't it? But okay, let's imagine the scales are really big. Remember, there's the variable scales. Each one of these little trees, guys, it's actually a woodland. It's a full wood, you know? And when there's a bunch of them together like this is a forest. Anyway, so here's the mountain in the middle. Is there anything weird about how that looks to you guys? Like maybe with this dip in the middle? Well, have a think about that. What we like, at least, is that there's some meadow up there, which is good. There's also some sort of crappy meadow around here, but let's use the meadow on the very top. And, well, there's not really much else going on. It is a very big open map, actually, to be honest. You kill these trees, and we're not going to be logging anything. If we kill these trees, we could have a very big colony. Alright, okay, before we super speed, I thought we'd be speeding up straight away here. I just went to get some coffee. There's something I've been mulling over, and I think I'm going to try it, okay? So, I'll describe it here real time first, because I'm sure once we're into the speeding up section, it's going to go really quick. So, here's the basic thing that I've been quite interested in for a while. I kind of like the idea. I like it when the visuals of things, like, tile together and look good. So what I've wanted to create for a while is two agoras that back onto one. Oh, we're still messing this up. Here we go. Almost. Two agoras that back onto one another like this. I think this is really interesting. And then what we could have is two, well, they could be blocks. You could have a block below and a block above. But you kind of have like this big central distribution area sort of thing. And then, you know, maybe you find a way to surround it with columns. You know, like this maybe, and then along over here as well. And that might look in some way good. So I was thinking about that, but then I was thinking, okay, what might look even cooler than that, actually, if we delete these two agoras, is what if they were both grand agoras? So now you've got a really big, like, beautiful plaza area, and well, essentially what I'm saying is we'll do two housing blocks next to each other, but of course it's going to require a bit of space. So I like this idea, obviously with gaps where the roads would actually come out. And so then I was thinking, to continue the concept along, and this is where I started mulling things over. I was imagining, like, imagine a long road, right? We'll draw it out exactly as long as it can go for the peddler. And then you can have a long road down here as well, with a road out for the peddler, and exits out to granaries and things nearby, whatever. In fact, if we align the granaries, oh, this would look really good. If we put granary and, like, storehouse back here, the columns could come along and everything. So I was thinking of drawing these lines out like this, and then we basically have two line-style blocks next to one another. Could look pretty good. Then I realized, well, if we've drawn two lines out like this, well, we've got most of the way to doing a forced walker setup for an infirmary and a fountain. Because I was thinking, well, I'll need infirmaries on the, I'll need fountains on the ends. Because if this is 44 long, then you'll need like water fountain guys to tag team it. So I thought I'd have fountains on the end. And as soon as I was looking at fountains on the end, I thought, well, look, if we do this, they'll come out, they'll roam along the bottom here. We would actually have this road like so, for example, and then, you know, roadblocks around the bottom of this. They'd come up. We'd now have a forced walker set up across the double block, which already is very cool. If we're doing the Grand Agora thing, what I could do is have elites on one side as well. So, or both roads will have elites, maybe on the inside. See, this is perfect for elites. So it could be a row of elites there if we avenue. And then common houses as well. We don't really need to go up to elites on a colony like this, but wouldn't that look pretty cool? So that's the concept, really. I'm going to have to measure it out properly. And we would need space. Now, this long road as well, in theory, could bend and twist and do all kinds of things. You know, we could have it twist to the left up here and twist to the right to create our kind of like yin-yang thing that we were talking about before, maybe. Well, I don't know, we would have just made a giant S at that point. But I think there's something in this. I think I'll put elite houses on the middle and commoners on the outside. They might not have the appeal without boulevard, and if I boulevard it, they're not going to have the space. Then, hey, maybe I'll just shift the road out by one on each. That could work. So anyway, this is the concept for the housing block. No idea how it will go. But it could look pretty good, and yeah, then we'll just build our industry up on the mountain. So that's the idea. I'm going to jump into it now. Oh yeah, and also, another thing that I didn't explain, but I had been mulling over before we got started here, is culture. If we're going to do the forced walker thing, remember what we just did at Marathon, where we had the gym with the infirmary and the water fountain, and that forced the competitor to do the whole loop? What if we turn the fountain and infirmary section into a culture district as well? Therefore, all the culture will walk along with the healer and the water carriers. They'll all do the whole loop, and we can put a theatre up there in the culture district, really make it look good, and the theatre will be utilised, because obviously there's going to be elites in this. So that's the idea. It's really elaborate. It exists only in my head. Here's how the building went. Alright, it went amazing. Okay, spoilers here. This is the greatest damn build of the entire LP. Oh, alright, maybe it's not that amazing. But I'm running pretty high here. This was very satisfying. In fact, so this was about 30 minutes, 39, no, it was about 40 minutes probably of building all told. But I'm not giving it to you at maximum super speed here. I want to take it just a little bit slow and show you guys just how cleanly and nicely all this stuff ends up. Like, this was so fun to build. I sort of wished I did it real time with real live commentary. Look at the way that the columns all end up lining up. I'm going to get this perfectly symmetrical. I don't know, I just felt like I was in a really good, like, delicate, careful place with the building of everything here. And it all came out so well. I think I have one slight issue with a roadblock, maybe. But look at that central distribution area. That's exactly what I was dreaming of. That's so what I wanted. Here I am. I'm shifting the roads out by that one extra one, because what I want to do is boulevard all the inside. If there's going to be elites living on the inside, that means they're going to be sandwiched between boulevard above and below. And there'll be space for a couple of benches or something, I think. But I'm hoping that that's enough appeal for them. Not just to be placed, but actually to fully evolve, which, as we know, they've got different levels. There you go. A little bit more pillar on the inside there. 4 benches on the inside. So I'm thinking, okay, we got a lot of buildings and things here. We don't want to scale too quickly. The one big advantage here is I've come into this colony with like a crap ton of money, so we can play around, but we don't want to have an instant famine. So my plan actually here is to get food going, my own food going, and then import some. And I noticed, by the way, we have no dairies or anything. The only actual local food we have, there's not even fish. There is a river to the north of the map, by the way, is hunting lodges. And looking around, there's loads of boar on the bottom left. Look at that. Just heaps of boar in a forest, surrounded as well by wolves. So this is a really cool detail about this map that I like as well. They really went crazy with the wolves, a bit like what I was talking about before, but not fully. But anyway, so I put a tower there maybe to snipe the wolves. That made me realize I'm going to need a connection to the palace, so we put the palace down. The palace, I went with a different design. I'm kind of sick of putting the maintenance post right next to it, so I gave it its own room. And then out the front, I wanted a grand entryway again, but I didn't just want to boulevard the whole thing with columns, so I put some offset fish ponds. I don't know. That bit of this colony isn't really too great, all right? That could have been prettier. The palace definitely could have used a bit of work. And then since we're near a meadow there, I put a couple of wheat farms. That's basically it for food. Wheat farms plus hunting lodges. But I don't want to go too crazy and put loads down. We need these initial people to move in to tend to the maintenance post. And here I am actually checking the, the hazard level. And hazards are pretty much fine. So let's click the speed up a little bit now. You can see the beginnings of the build. And again, I cannot wait to do this culture district. So I've got to decide north or south. And I decided to go north. Again, we're at the edge of the goddamn map, which kind of sucks. And first I'm thinking, all right, we'll put the infirmary and water fountain like quite out of the way. And then I thought, no, actually we want all of our buildings here with them. So water fountain, infirmary, and then on this road, we'll call this the low road. I'm going to send all the feeders. So there's college, drama school, gym. With a little bit of maintenance. And I'm pretty sure that's everything they need. In order to square off a nice like hub filled with pillars, I put some parks and flower garden around. Isn't this already looking incredible? But then I think, okay, well, on the opposite side, What we need is the theatre and so on. And a stadium. Now, the stadium's quite big, so is the theatre as well. So this is going to be a huge area. And I was thinking at first maybe we can align them all along this southern flank like this, but it doesn't go together too well. Now, what does go together quite well is a stadium there. And also, importantly, they have their own maintenance. I was a little bit worried about this house right next to, you know, this final maintenance and tax office as it is that I ended up putting there. Because tax is like the final piece of the puzzle. We can't get tax to walk through the whole town. Tax kind of does have to be dotted around. So do maintenance posts sort of have to be dotted around. But look at that. I square it all off. I have a bit of inside maintenance as well. There's 3 posts there, but they're all perfectly lined up for what we want. And now we can just build the bottom. You know, nothing needs to be there. We just create this giant U. And everyone's going to walk along this nice long U. There are no, like, turn-offs or random directions they can go. By the time they hit the central Agora area, they're all on their return home AI. So they'll never go in weird ways around the storehouses or whatever. And we know that works because I perfectly lined out how far the Agora walkers would go for the length of the line itself, which is longer than what those guys will go. So I'm placing some pier in the nice marshland, the very long grasses. Again, I told you there's a lot of it in the enhancement pack, and I kind of regretted building that road in there because the path cut away the really nice effect where it felt like the ground was very fluffy and we were set inside it. Oh, here I am manning the towers as well because we didn't actually click that button just yet. But yeah, those piers, one is back to home, to Lerna. The other one is just to get us a little bit of extra food. So we're buying, actually I think both piers are giving us food. I think we're buying wheat from Lerna, from Demeter's lovely grove. That's that wheat coming in there, and also urchins from somewhere else. There's actually a load of places you can trade with here. Not many of them too useful. So here at the top of the mountain, and I do say mountain there, we put some olive trees and some sheep so that they can all be tended to. Some nice industry around the base of the mountain. Obviously, the whole point of being here is that we can grow our own olives. So I have my own olive presses here too. And I'm pretty sure I can actually start exporting that as well. Oh yeah, and then I realized I didn't actually set any of these storage bays up. I was so excited with just the physicality of the build. I hadn't gone through and toggled a bunch of those little things there. 2 taxes offices at the bottom, 1 at the top. Just so that they get roaming and they do at least a little bit, as much as they can. I want to keep that inner row obviously as clean as possible for when the elites come in. Another layer of Doric columns around the central distribution place. I think that effect looks really good. And what I actually kind of like here is I have Ionic columns around the culture district. I have Doric columns around the distribution district. And I have Corinthian columns around the houses. Even all the columns line up beautifully here. Now, we're importing all of this wheat. We want elites. Surely we should evolve them completely, right? So I just threw some horse stables down. Two will be fine. It will just take them a little while to get their horses. So we're going to see them all fully evolved townhouses right next to fully evolved elites, you know, which will get that beautiful, magnificent second story on there as well. So what I'm looking forward to seeing is a big bustling downtown with a bunch of very tall buildings, you know, which always look most impressive. Built a quick armory there as well. We cannot buy armor, but we can buy bronze. So I buy bronze at the pier. Turn it into armor for our own guys, and then that new pier I just placed, actually we can sell armor back out, which does mean that the colony now will be able to earn money and justify its own existence. That's before we even talk about selling the olive oil and the fleece to our parent, which is what they really want. I've given my own guys fleece now as well, which you can see they're starting to evolve. Oh yeah, I had a weird thing where I was trying to give commodities just to the top row first, but it was the granary workers at the bottom row that ended up grabbing stuff. Like, we got that gift of wheat at the beginning, and they received the wheat, so I've ended up just sort of evolving them all at once. A couple of pillars for decoration, and now I'm going to stop, guys, to cut back to the original commentary, because we're going to have a natural disaster, and one we've never seen before. Ahaha! It has happened! Okay, waves of deadly molten rock. You know, that didn't take very long. Gush out from deep underground, turning everything in their path to ashes. Well, check this out, guys. There's lava here. Oh my god, it's going a really weird direction. No, my armory! Oh, okay, this isn't what I expected to happen. So I've read online that this lava, I guess what I've read is the guy just got really unlucky. This is not a mountain, guys. You know how it says it's lovely and pleasant? Oh, here we go. Here's a landslide. Your citizens dismayed and shocked. Boulders have come cascading down the mountainside into our city, knocking everything in their paths. Some of our land is covered with rocks and completely unusable. How will we make it through this nightmare? So, landslides, by the way, we haven't seen those at all in this Let's Play, but landslides are a thing. At least at this point, I don't remember any landslides. Maybe in one of the very early campaigns there was one, but it's a rare phenomenon. I think they really pick them up and use more of them in the expansion. Oh, and so now I can explain all these rocks on the left. I think what they're simulating with that geography I was talking about when we first got here, I think they're supposed to have been prior landslides. Here we go. Pretty sure we haven't seen a landslide. Boom. Smashes this. Okay, now what happens here with this landslide is really kind of clever. It does happen. So we no longer have a route to the top of the mountain. Look at this. They're all sealed off. I mean, there's this amazing pathway that we can create here. Oh, you can just click a path in like that. Oh, I didn't even realize you could just single click that. But look, it's stuck now. So this is all cut off from Greece on the top now. These shepherds are stranded. They have no way back down, and we have no way up. So actually, this is a trap in this map. First of all, we get to see a landslide, which is awesome. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite maps. Like all the wolves and stuff. Look at all these wolves they put here. This is crazy. So this is not a mountain, it's a volcano. That's the idea here. So the lava's destroyed my armory, I can deal with that. But unfortunately, all this industry is set up here. You remember I called this crappy meadow a second ago? Well, this crappy meadow is what we're actually going to need. So I have to shift my industry now, and I have to build around. And also, one final thing. I think that what they're doing, since this is the entrance to the underworld, I think it's through the volcano. I think that's the idea. This is the entrance to down there, you know? Are all the wolves meant to be somewhat referential to Cerberus, the three-headed dog guarding the entrance? I don't know, maybe, probably not. So, yeah, that dip at the top is like the caldera. You know, it's so easy to just look at the map art and just think that they haven't thought too carefully about it. But I do think there's a lot of little things like that in this game where they're being kind of clever about how they've laid things out, and especially if you know the IRL geography. Like, there's more detail there than I think most players are picking up as they play through. So, there you go. Hopefully that's a fun bit of trivia for you all. So, over to our new agriculture. It kind of occurs to me the whole Boulevard Avenue thing is totally irrelevant. Just put them next to each other. I don't know. I guess it's relevant in the world that you want to ultimately shift the goods northwest, southeast, further along one direction or another, but it's a very petty little thing. Anyway, so I give them their own olive storehouse, which is the important improvement over all the other building we've done in the series so far. That is better. A bunch of olive trees on one side, and then a nice pen for our sheep on the other, except I can't place the sheep. I can't place the sheep because all these sheep are here. All the shepherds that were up there have despawned or died or gone away, I don't know. But these, I really don't know what this is, guys. Am I supposed to kill them this way? That cannot be that. I did notice that one or two of them had already died without my intervention before doing that massive mess of roadblocks there. So it might have been just you wait long enough and they'll all die and you can place the sheep. But I didn't want to have to sit there for months and months and months, so I did the roadblock technique. We roadblocked the entire... We tried to fill in the volcano, guys. And, we killed all the sheep in doing so. And then I thought I'd delete it because that just looked ridiculously ugly, didn't it? Also, a bunch of spare trees since we got the money to put them down, and it just adds a bit of texture to the road on its way along. And I was so happy with the colony there. I just gave it a quick little save. I think what I was actually concerned about, so now I'm just speeding along, watching the seasons go through. I think I play it like 24 months here, just to see the two harvests. And you'll notice they're not actually putting the olives in that storage deck right next to them anyway. They're taking them straight to the presses, because that's their priority. So, you know, when it will eventually get used, hey, who knows? I did give it a little bit of an avenue in the end to connect it along. The save was because we moved so many months along, I didn't want to go into debt in the meantime, but we're not at any risk of that at all. Olive oil for the people, finally. We're fully evolved. Now here, when placing the elites down, I haven't put them side by side. I've left little gaps. That's so that I can put gazebos between them all. Because, I don't know, I'm nervous that they wouldn't fully evolve. There is possibly a method here of then also having monuments. Like, I don't put a single monument down at this entire colony, I'm now realizing. You could maybe do monuments behind the townhouses, and maybe that would give them their final bit of appeal, and you could put them all together. But I've gone with a gazebo effect here, which I think ended up looking quite nice as well. Maybe I could have alternated gazebo flower gardens, and it would have been even better. But here they come, evolving. By the way, another pier to export some more armor, I think. And this is really the end of the colony. Watching them fully evolve, they have the horses straight away and everything. You know, elites tend to feel like this mountainous, mammoth, huge effort. But right here, I feel like I almost accidentally got elites just by doing my own mixed neighborhoods, just based on this weird thing where I wanted both agoras next to each other. We don't even really see the floor of the agoras now very much with the horse trainers and stuff there, but it lended itself to this brilliant, cool mixed design, I think. Oh, this is so good. I will have been ranting about how much I like this already in the super speed, but holy shit, this is a good design right here. What a fun map, you know. The only thing that I would improve upon this even more, we got a little bit of unemployment, right? This is going to look hideous. But I'm going to lift out like a house or two. because I want to do the whole thing where we put towers on the insides as well, just to mix it up a little bit, just because it's fun, because we have the unemployment. Oh, they look good up against the houses like this. And look, now you have archers watching out and defending the people. Oh, we could dot a couple more towers around there as well. But, man, this ended up one of my favourite places all time. Seriously. Ugh, I got to stop saying that. But look at this. Holy crap. And they've all evolved immediately as well. Again, I don't know if the gazebos are necessary. If they're not, you could actually squeeze one whole extra house in, obviously, because 2 on either side. And up on this row... Do I have more houses on this row? 4 and 4. No, it's all set up. And it just looks so good when they're fully evolved, you know, and they got the 2 stories and they're like hitting the same height that the tower is and the townhouses are. Oh, I wish I'd done this a long time ago. But, you know, this is not a design I've seen online. I just sort of came up with this. This is just super cool. The ultimate satisfaction of the game. So there you have it, guys. That's Marathon. Sorry, no, we already did Marathon. This is Tenarum. And, you know, we burnt a bit of money on this, to be honest, but we have started our armor export because, again, this is open play. We know that no one's going to attack us militarily here. So we could, once we've given a little bit of armor to make these guys happy and fully evolve, we can just start selling the rest. Same, well, no, the wine they'll want a continuous supply of, but look how this pier just filled up with bronze and stuff here. Lovely map. Obviously could be improved by, you know, maybe a better palace. With some mythology around here as well. Oh, no, they don't actually even give you mythology, sadly. Because I was looking at one of the piers you can import, like, all the stuff you need for mythology from, but, it's not open. That's a shame. They could have given it to these colonies. And this is rock-solid stable as well. This ain't going anywhere. This is going to be super stable for as long as I want it. Oh, what a nice district. I don't want to move on. I'm rambling here literally because I don't want to move on. I don't want to go back to our parent. And that's mind-blowing to me because I love our parent as it is now. But let's set aside our stuff. Wait. Before I do that, we got to save this. Okay. Tenarum thrives. Tenarum? No, we've probably got that the wrong way around like that. Probably is how it's spelled. Thrives. It's damn Greek words. Okay, cool. So now let's set the goods aside. And say farewell. Oh, I wish I could click a button and return whenever we want to. But we've accomplished what I like. And, you know, the volcano is just such a cool little touch here as well. There you go. With Tenarum built to your liking, you are ready to return to Lerna and continue building your economic strength. So this is the end of open play economic. Technically, we could just end it now. Open play, no episode goals. Nothing is stand in the way of your success. Lerna and its daughter cities of Tenarum and Marathon provide nearly every product any Greek citizen could ever want. The Empire of Lerna is destined to become a legend. So, our second colony monument. Oh, this place is pretty fab as well, though, isn't it? Yeah, look, all the grapevine here, but they haven't actually tended to it. He's running along. He's got a long way to go. Okay, so, one final little build session for the end of this video. This meadow is going to turn into common housing surrounding Aphrodite, and we're going to see them all evolve as much as possible. Let's see how this goes. Oh boy, well, I don't know what kind of mad genius possessed me at the colony just now, because whatever it was is clearly gone. This was a nightmare. This was really hard. I just spent like 40 minutes playing this, and there's so many different configurations. Okay, so here's the main game, right? I want the maximum number of houses near Aphrodite as humanly possible. So I'm going to try to do a weird like U shape where I only put the most essential buildings on that block possible, which means an agora basically behind. Maybe some maintenance if I have to. So here you can see I'm flirting with a bit of maintenance. But I'm going to do that culture thing again. I'm going to do forced walker, infirmary and water carrier so that they're nowhere near the block, just to get them away from the block. That's the whole reason I'm doing that. And then we'll also have the culture guys feeding and walking through as well as best we can. But I forget to set up the water and infirmary for ages, which creates like a lot of mess with the roads. And then we end up having like a route out for Aphrodite anyway, which is a little bit frustrating. The overall effect is very good. We are going to have the full housing block. It is going to be pretty goddamn good. And I want to tax them as well. If the whole point is to become a tyrant in a minute, then we need to have a tax post there. So I've put that there. Yeah, immediately you saw I made a bit of an error there. I didn't give myself space for houses on the outside as well as the inside. And the whole time I'm just watching this footage right now, I wish I just ripped out that armory right here, right now, and gave myself all the space that I needed. But I was sort of refusing to touch the armory as much as possible. So here I'm trying to put feeder buildings, but I've started with a theatre, which is a bit silly because, you know, we have a drama school and a theatre there right now. That actually ends up not being a problem. I'll end up catching that long before we have any other issues. The other big deal that I'm going to end up struggling with here is, okay, if I have the Agora there and I don't want to compromise on any houses on the block, they're going to be getting the goods by walking through the block to the storage distribution area. So we'll have, granary here and storehouse here. This is our storage. I'm asking the Agora vendor to walk quite far. Now, I'm thinking, you know, it's not a mega block. There's no crazy design we're doing here. So hopefully she'll be able to do that walk and we'll have some stability. So I set this all up. I put the nice pillars around and everything, but there is instability. She'll do the walk to that granary and it's just slightly too far. The peddler will throw all the food away while she's on the trip. And then houses will start missing their food while the peddler's near them. And then because they miss the peddler for a cycle or two, then that's it. They start devolving. So I have a lot of chaotic evolution and devolution on this build before finally, you see that granary that I have there? Eventually I'm going to rip it out and move it on the very back left corner of the block. I'm going to sacrifice a house to have a granary basically on the main street. Which is pretty crazy, really, but, you know, as far as appeal and stuff, it's fine. Don't forget, Aphrodite herself gives everyone a huge appeal bonus, so appeal is easy. Even some of the dirtiest, grottiest looking areas of this setup, like right next to that armory, all the houses are perfectly happy to evolve. It's super nice. Well, I'm very satisfied by this whole Aphrodite setup that I have here, but I do wish that we had got to start a campaign with her. You know, I think another way for a custom adventure to do this would be you unlock mythology in episode 1 and Aphrodite's haven's there, and in the first few months you get given gifts enough to build her haven. And you make it clear in the quest text, okay, use these to build the haven. That way the player can build the haven straight away. And then you get to do a whole city with, like, fun, weird appeal design and stuff. There's nowhere in the game that actually supports that. Even here in the open plays and the free plays, you know, we don't start with the woods. So, and most people, I think, by the way, would pick Marathon second because the fleece and the oil is just so much better. Oh, you'll notice as well, actually, I haven't built our pier to getting the fleece and getting the oil just yet. And that causes instability with fleece as well for a little while. But I'm going to actually, I'm going to do a big cut in a minute and I'll go place that down during the cut. Here I am setting the water and the infirmary up, and I don't know, I just can't get it clear in my head. Like, how do I do this? How are they set up? This looks really short here in this footage, but it took me a long time before I finally settled on exactly how the setup would work. And it does. Here you go. Here's me verifying. So they walk all the way along, but look at near the entrance of Aphrodite's place right now. There's a branch in the roads where she has a chance to roam out the wrong way, which she's going to do. Evolution for culture is a bit of an issue as well because we haven't put a stadium down. I was originally thinking of having the stadium near elites, but I don't think we're going to do elites in the end here. So I just go for a similar thing to what we had just now at Tenarum, which is over by that theatre. I'll end up putting a stadium down there. So after this, it's just messing and waiting and hoping that the food situation fixes our evolution because you can already see the issues. And I'm throwing monuments around. These monuments are completely unnecessary. And I wait for ages. Look at my gold right now. My drachma, 36,000. Now we cut. I'm at 177. Yeah, it was a big cut and a lot of messing and speeding forwards just to try and get this right. But here, I'll show you guys now the fruits of our labor. Oh, this is like on an art show or something, you know, or like Ready, Steady, Cook. They'll cut and then suddenly the whole meal will be done. So let's see. Oh, well, I think we're done. Here we go. Trade with Marathon shuts down. Brilliant. Good timing. I've noticed that there's like a billion pop-ups to do with trade, like as places wither and then they come back and then they wither. My coffee is cold here. Oh my lord. All right, so we're finally stable. They're not even using the back of the granary over here. They're not even trying to do it. But yeah, I had to set a lot of things up very differently. Look at this house I managed to get out here. Way out on his own. All the way out here because I've noticed the peddler's actually coming all the way up here. I mean, he's going to have a little bit of instability, I suppose. But there you go. So that's Aphrodite. Can I just take a second here to stop and breathe and enjoy this visual? I've been waiting for this visual, houses surrounding Aphrodite, for a long time. And you know what? Because she's kind of a smaller temple and things are a bit more compact, but there's a lot of interest in what's actually happening visually there, I feel like this really pops. I love the look of this. If every city that I could have made throughout this LP had this at its heart, I would have done it in a heartbeat. I couldn't even describe to you how incredibly satisfied I am to see this long-term goal, you know, come to fruition before the end of the LP. Here, look, she sanctified multiple houses here. So check this out. This townhouse here, it says it has 60 occupants. But by the time the people come in, I'm not seeing it go over 60. Let's see. So this one's sanctified, right? 60 residents, 60 occupants, 60 occupants. By the time anyone would move in, the sanctification turns off. So I'm not really sure what this thing is of her making the houses deeper. Let's see again. Gods. Oh, we've been talking about this the whole playthrough. Aphrodite, click here to see what she can do. Sometimes she will appear in your city. As she passes houses, she sanctifies them, adding new residents to them. And then if certain people invade, then she'll deal with them. But what new residents? I'm not seeing any new residents. You may think maybe it just bumps the population all on its own. By the way, check it out. We've got 7,000 people here. And also, we've nearly hit 200k drachma just with all this me messing about trying to get this goddamn thing stable here. So she is moving around. She is sanctifying. This is the effect. Yeah, I love how you can barely see just her glow as she moves around. There, see one of these houses on the inside. Got it. 60 occupants. 60. They're all just sticking at 60, so I'm not entirely sure about all that. Another thing I'm thinking is because the timing of so many animations and mechanics in this are based on the clock speed, maybe sanctification timers are shorter than they should be. Maybe it should be that residents could move in time, but they're not. I really don't know, and I can't find any discussion about it online, I'm afraid, guys. The game is just a bit too obscure, I guess, and a bit too old. Listen, if anyone has definitive details about this, let me know in the comments. I've not asked specifically for comments that often as this series has gone along, but this is one I would love to hear at any point, even if it's 20 years down the line. However, we do have this buff of people not really moving out, so I'm going to save now, all right? And we're going to say Lerna thrives. It's going to turn into despotic Lerna now, though, okay, because her plus Dionysus down here at the palace, as you can see, dancing away with his wine that they're struggling to... Actually, they're not struggling. Look at this. Look at this town, man. Oh, it's so good. These beautiful stable here. All this wheat exportation we've got going on. I swear, as soon as I set this wheat exportation on, things just started happening, like, fast. All this storage we have... Oh, another one of the granaries broke. Ah, I didn't even see that there. Okay, well, let's fix this granary up here. My God, you guys wouldn't believe it. It's been 40 minutes for me to build one housing block around Aphrodite. But here's what I'm going to try. I'm going to pay people nothing. So our unemployment will presumably drop somewhat there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tax them outrageously. Now, in any city, this should cause absolutely ridiculous unrest. So let's play this forward and see if they get mad at this. Low wages, what's that? What did I just say? Low wages are preventing immigration, maybe? Popularity bad. Popularity awful. Low wages prevent immigration. But everything's stable, so it doesn't actually matter. We've got the people here already. Now, are they getting mad? Are they fighting on the streets? Are they doing anything like that? No, it doesn't look like they are. So it's working. This is great. Yes, mine for me, my minions. Mine. Mwah! They're just picking their axes away there. Picking their axes away. Also, I love this effect of Aphrodite up here, Demeter just nearby with all the sanctification. The two lovely little places. In fact, here, look, we can spend all this money that we're just squeezing out of these people. You don't even get any money when you come to this town. How crazy is that? Look, and we can spend that money on some beautification there. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to play this forwards now. For one last big long super speed. I'm actually going to cut this because you don't need to see it. I'm going to just play it and see what happens. Like, my popularity continues to be terrible. But everyone's here and they're working and there is zero crime. Dionysus is pretty strong for that. Nobody is choosing to leave because of Aphrodite. Well, it works. I mean, it totally works. You get these two gods and you can print cash. You can take these guys, literally, they are just our minions, completely beholden to us. Everything they do, we take for ourselves. They get nothing. That's pretty despotic, and I didn't realize you could do that in this game. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so yeah, I'll play it forward until we've got, I don't know, where's a nice amount? We did say this was going to be the richest city. 500k maybe? I'll see you guys in a second. Oh, here, it just occurred to me while editing that this is like a contemptible, hated city, right? So finally, when we right-click people, they won't all love us. We might get some new dialogue. So here's a selection of dialogue. I've just gone back into the game to speak to the people who are essentially our slaves. What do they think of the town?
Pickaxe, check. Bag, check. Well, I'm ready to mine.
Well, not all their dialogue updated.
I'm sure there are worse places in Greece.
I'll be laconic here. This city is mediocre at best.
This city isn't the pits, but it could be better.
Coming here is like coming home.
You and this city are so well loved.
See, I like this. The trader doesn't know what's really up.
This city falls below my very exacting standards.
I'm going to the games. I can't wait to vanquish my opponents.
I need more supplies from the Agora. My customers are so demanding.
This city could be in much better shape.
I guess I don't mind living here.
It's better than a finger in the eye.
The city's problems aren't just rhetorical, but it could be worse.
Look at the size of this basket.
When I tell you the news, just don't treat me like Achilles treated Coprius and kill the messenger. This city has problems.
Oh wow, we got attacked by Ares! You annoy me! Meet my dragon and know the true meaning of terror. At my command, he'll make war on some of your military buildings. I can't wait to teach you a lesson. I can't believe that. Wow, we can build Jason here? Actually, I never pointed this out to you guys, but I noticed half these guys weren't being taxed, so they are now. I noticed that when I replayed open play at Olympia, I had a quest for a different monster and a different hero. So I think they're totally randomized. There'll be things from the main campaigns, but they'll be randomized. So Jason wants horses, horseman companies, and some triremes to deal with the dragon. I don't suppose one of my pre-existing gods or goddesses can deal with it, can they? Oh, he's over here. See, look, he's not even doing anything. He's just killing these wolves. Because, you know, again, open play, they'll make it nice and easy. Well, there you go, guys. This is my Lerna. I guess we'll stop there. Look, 250,000 drachma. That's probably going to be the most that you'll see. And how a combo of not even very large gods, you know, like these temples are quite small. Dionysus and Aphrodite will allow you to do outrageous taxes, pay people nothing, and all the while you will reap the benefits and lots of money. So there you have it. Thanks very much for watching. This is Open Play Economic 2, the sequel. What we have next in the next video is going to be Open Play Military, and that's the really fun one where you start and all of Greece is gone. Everything's been destroyed by Zeus, and you're alone in the world as towns and places slowly pop back up. I've got a fun idea for the heart of the city on that one. It was something I was actually going to do here at Lerna, but decided not to in the end. Yeah, I'd build elites here as well, but the video is very, very, very long already, so we'll leave elites out. And besides, the ultimate city will be an open play sandbox too. Anyway, join me for that. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Your viewership means everything to me, and I'll see you for the next one very soon. Take care now.
If only they had been invited to a Bacchic reveling, or a feast of Pan or Aphrodite. No, wait, that's one of the women's lives. Darn it!